Good evening, everybody. This is the City of Westminster Historic District Commission agenda, Wednesday, May 1st. We are here at City Hall at 1838 Emerald Hill Lane in beautiful downtown Westminster. And I'm calling us to order at 7 o'clock, and we are on Facebook. So we're going to start with our statement of authority. The Westminster Historic District Commission derives its authority from Chapter 164, Article 9A of the City Code, which is authorized by the Maryland Code Annotated Land Use Article Division 1, Single Jurisdiction Planning and Zoning, Title 8, Historic Preservation. The qualifications of the Westminster Historic District Commission are on file at the City Administration Building at 45 West Main Street, and the file is open to the public. I want to do a quick roll call, starting at my left.
Dr. Beatty, first time on the word,
And Vice President.
President.
Christy McMaster's chair.
Evan Weideman.
Melissa Thorin, Economic Development Coordinator.
Mark Depot, the Director of Community Planning and Development.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the minutes from March?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. How about the April 3rd minutes?
April 3rd minutes, I make a motion, we accept them as written.
Do I hear a second?
I second that motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, let's move towards indicating aye to accept them. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, city staff, for your hard work. They're both accepted. Thank you. We have no old business this evening. We were going to start with item A, the Westminster Historic District welcome signage recommendations. It doesn't have a name, but I'm assuming Mr. Depot would like to speak to this topic.
I'm on the signage.
I'm gonna start and Mark will absolutely back me up.
We shall see.
Okay, it's actually a little more informal than I would have liked today to be. Things were quite busy in the office this week. Essentially what you have here is a map, and there's front and back of the map. And what you see with the dotted line, it's a very small dotted line, if you can see that it is in fact dotted with red X's, is essentially the historic district boundary line. Now, the boundary line does not exist on the front map alone, which is why there's extra boundaries on the other, sides of it. So if you're a map lover like myself, you might be able to follow along. If you're not quite a map lover, it might be a little bit tricky. But essentially here,
Can we share this with our TV?
oh, we should, and I will pull it up, but I don't have it prepared at this moment. So the plan is maybe not to put a sign at every X. It's quite a few.
Yeah.
So to get us started, I'm looking for your thoughts on where you would like to see signs placed first. Let's say we were able to do about 6 of them. So that's sort of number one, and then number two is what essentially are we looking to design them as? And on after the following, I had some examples of some signs that I thought would look nice. Essentially, they're either aluminum or bronze. They're fairly pricey. So this is what I was looking at, something closer to this style.
Mhm.
However, open to discussion. We might not be in agreement on the staff level, but this is what needs to be the final product. So
That's where the complete total backup by Mr. Depot comes in, I take it.
Yes.
correct. So do you all have thoughts? We'll start with, I guess, on the placement of the signs.
So can I chime in? Because I've been thinking about this for quite a long time.
Absolutely.
To me, if we only have 6, I would just throw out for the group to chew on both ends of Main Street, 27 and 32. Because to me, those are main corridors that see a lot of people. And although North Center Street Center Street is really very used, and Longwell and George Street even. I just feel like if you only have 6, you'll do the state ones first. That's my thought. What do you guys think?
Are you doing 27 north or south or both?
Both. It gives you a vague blob, doesn't give you, you know, preciseness on the historic district, but that'll come in time. Yes, Melissa?
Did you say 32? Is
Yes.
the road one, are you referring to Washington Road?
Washington Road and Manchester Road.
Okay.
What about, or do you mean this when you say both ends of Main Street? I kind of would like to see, when you're coming in Pennsylvania Avenue at the, where
The
the
fork?
Dave's Seafood House is, or Dave's Seafood, whatever that is, like that
Vince's,
corner,
yes,
Vince's
right,
Seafood. Like, yeah, I mean, to me, you're coming in from Pennsylvania and that's, you know, even though that corner is not.
Well, all of Pennsylvania Avenue, I mean, if you're worried about people coming in from Pennsylvania down 97,
Yeah,
you would put it out at the edge of Pennsylvania Avenue.
I just thought it'd be more welcoming because then people would say, oh, this is downtown Westminster. But that's the thought.
No, I think you may be right. I wish I knew the traffic numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Like Manchester Avenue probably doesn't see as many people as Pennsylvania Avenue 97.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then I would
Maybe move that one.
change that one over to the entry. But you want them at the entry, the whole point is the boundary marking.
Well, let's just say when I lived in Pennsylvania, I came down this way, that's the way I came, and I was always, it's when I got to that corner, I thought, I'm in Westminster now, but a lot of people won't, so I always thought that was,
It's a lovely corner, but the whole point is to tell people you're entering.
okay.
Or it could be a little further out near the edge of the campus, a little further up Pennsylvania Avenue, wherever the boundary of the district is.
Exactly. The minute you hit the district, you should know.
And I mean, Ralph Street is, I think a lot of local people use Ralph Street, but not too many people who are visiting get off 140 there.
Yeah. Well, that's a wish and a dream next round. But yeah, we should pick, I think I agree, coming in from Pennsylvania, that's the way you come in, so we put it on the very edge of Pennsylvania Avenue. 27, both acres of Main Street and Washington Boulevard.
Zooming in on, let's see, if page 1, page 2, page 3, it's the very final page, page 4. This is actually zoomed in on the western Main Street side. There's 3 exits. You can see West Main Street and Uniontown. So West Main Street is essentially right where the Daniel campus is.
Right.
And then Uniontown. Those to me are so close, they're probably about equal on traffic numbers, maybe even Uniontown's more,
Yep.
so.
So Uniontown it is.
So this is helpful, so essentially, depending on the design, we can look at budget and how we can stretch it, you know, to make this a reality. So does anybody have thoughts on the sign design?
Yes.
Okay,
I do love the medium one. I think it says enough that the one with the least amount of writing doesn't say enough, and the one with the middle one says too much.
I agree.
Yeah, this is my favorite.
when you say medium, the one that says Spring
Spring
Grove
Grove.
Historic District?
Yeah, Need to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't want people stopping and maybe for fair to read.
that sign is actually an 18-inch by 24-inch.
That's small.
So we have a text.
We can't get the size we. Well, what if we get a bigger sign and just put less on it? We get a bigger sign and put, you know, don't write a chapter on it, just
Yeah, like
contents.
the DAR sign is gonna be pretty big.
Do you remember the dimensions of that?
I think it's 24 by 36.
Oh, wow, that is bigger with the 36.
But it's, I can't tell with this one. I don't know if they're just sort of like silk screened on, or if there's actual like etching. Etching into bronze is real expensive, but silk screen was not so bad.
So what are your thoughts if we just as an aside, if we went to more of the street sign, aluminum flat, maybe colorful look. Similar design, just not bronze or this type of aluminum.
So I don't want it to look like a cartoon, or a Tree City sort of look. Historical stuff is brown and boring.
Mm-hmm.
But then, when it catches your eye, you're gonna say, oh, historical, not, ice cream.
Exactly. Exactly, I mean, the whole point, the Park Service has brown everywhere in the country, it's trained the nation to think history is brown.
Brick, wooden, type of.
That's it, I mean, you can see 2 out of 3 of these examples are your basic brown.
They are, yeah.
And that's what you'll see on every interstate, that's what you'll see everywhere along the way.
I like it, I like brown.
Mm-hmm.
The Hoshua Center has brown and they're not historic, and there should be a rule against that. But, cause that's a nature preserve, that should be green,
I see, yeah.
but there's sort of a kind of acknowledged messaging for historic visitors. That's my thought, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think there actually for highway signs are colors that mean different things. But the Hoshua one may be old enough that it's grandfathered in before the rules changed or something.
They may have just paid for it themselves and done it themselves.
Yeah, that's true. Are these one-sided or two-sided?
Great question, I don't have an answer.
They should be too, right? It's traffic goes both ways. Do we need to put any of this in a motion? Or are you just looking for
I
feedback
don't
right
think so.
now? Cause things still
This
make
is feedback, yeah.
feedback only,
Mm-hmm.
cause there may be other factors with other staff people involved. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be looking to purchase something before the end of the fiscal year, so it's coming up quickly.
Mm.
So we're gonna get to work on this and make sure we can come up with something nice that,
Do you have the wording yet? Do you have the wording?
It's something that would be similar to what you're reading here.
And this one is really one size fits all. We could just say Westminster Historic District, blah, 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 and it would all fall in, it'd be a different date, it'd be a little earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but, yeah. Yeah, the plaque on my house that is bronze and engraved or embossed, I guess is true, and it's only about this big. That was all pre-bought on the internet. Like, I didn't have to imagine anything.
Mm-hmm. You just, made it personal.
Didn't do that. Just said this property is listed.
Oh, I see, okay. Yeah.
And my neighbor went and bought one for himself too,
Oh, okay.
across the street.
Yeah.
You just get on the internet and buy that, so I'm not saying we wanna do that, I'm just saying that there's a market out there for these things and there's probably vendors who can do it pretty quick and easy.
Mhm.
Are we gonna be able to do our own installation with our own abilities?
I would believe so, yes.
I would hope so. I mean, there's nothing too special here.
Unless there's any other feedback, thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, this is fun.
It's fun.
Now, we're not gonna actually say anything 250th on the sign, it's just we know we're doing it to get ready for the 250th. True?
This is actually something we've had planned before this, I think. So if
think
you
we
wanna
should
loop
leverage
it in.
Yeah, leverage it in as part of our 250th plans.
Okay.
Yeah, we were thinking of that. Okay, good. All right, are we done with item A, Mrs. Thorne?
Yes.
Okay, item B. The staff is saying we should be doing elections and I agree. So, let's start with the chair. I open it up to anyone who wants to make a motion.
I make a motion, we keep it simple. Keep it there and vice chair. We have now.
Oh, re-elect? I think we'll need to go again. How about you, Chris? Sure. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Miss Kathy. Any discussion?
Do we wanna wait until, Grace is here to do that.
Let's just do it. Okay. Preservation month.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns? Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Have any tie breaking to do? Hearing none, I declare us to be the same.
Congratulations.
Yep. That's quick.
Hard fought.
Also, thank you both for the willing to do it.
It's a real joy. It's a real joy. I'm actually pretty glad that I get to continue. I've enjoyed myself.
That you can continue.
I think next year we should have a debate, maybe.
Bring the precedent and
Yeah.
grill us about.
Exactly. We'll come up with some questions and
You're running out of posts, so you can't make yourself.
Right. You should have done this louder. Yeah, okay. Then we're gonna move on to the implementation plan. And project update, do we have anything this Thorn?
I was really hoping we were. There's not a lot of forward motion. Actually, I did get an email today from the Maryland Historical Trust that they're still waiting on getting our agreement finalized. But funds must be encumbered by June 30th. So that was fun to see.
Well, okay, so that's incredibly difficult. But also, I would think you could actually ask for an extension and blame it on them.
I hope so.
Because there are extensions are available for the things like that in the world.
Mhm.
I don't know about this particular fund. I might be speaking out of my hat, but
Yeah.
if they cause you a delay, then I think it's important for you to cause you a delay.
I'm used to the Department of Housing and Community Development, where they typically say you at least have a year from the time you sign the agreement.
Yes.
So that was interesting news today.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So they're delaying their decision, but yet you could lose the money because of their delay.
So it's just the process of paperwork behind the scenes to get the agreements written and reviewed by legal and then sent out, and they have a lot of them that they have to do.
Right.
So we got the decision.
Yeah.
What we don't have is the terms and conditions
Oh.
of the agreement.
Okay, so
And
we're
when you
halfway there.
sign the actual agreement, you're promising your life and limb. I used to write those agreements and they're not original, they're sort of a boilerplate, but they include everything from wearing your seatbelt to not having drugs in the workplace. I mean, often they're exceedingly detailed with whatever the problem of the day is for that agency. So. And you don't get any leverage at all, like. I usually put in as vague anything from the grantee as possible because the grantor cannot change that paperwork. The legal has all worked it over like crazy. That's my experience. Can I ask you to add one more thing to our scope of work?
You can.
So Commissioner Midori here found 2 new Sanborn maps. And I would love to have them go down and get digital copies of them.
Down to the Library of Congress.
I think they're, now, weren't they in copyright and isn't that why we can get copies. We can go down and get physical copies, but they can't digitize it and make it available. You have to go down there and get copies yourself or look at them. I forget what that was.
Sure, so it would be accessible like via,
You have to come.
we couldn't put it on the map, we couldn't put it on our.
I'm not so sure about that, maybe
Okay.
just they can't. See, we're just doing this for educational purposes, so copyright properly when, I mean, it's not like we're making money off of the Sanborn maps.
Unfortunately, they're missing the 2 pages that I
But that's a huge gap to be filled in that I wouldn't even know they
It's 1959.
That sounds like a fun staff activity, actually.
Well, then, you might, is it at Suitland or is it in at Congress?
I don't know.
At any rate, I think it would benefit the city vastly.
sounds like a 3 to 4 day trip. Yes.
What you city people do
City,
is.
So we should, you should make an appointment first.
Yeah.
And make the appointment and tell them what you're looking for, that way they'll be able to service.
And then
Yeah, and I think you have to like pre-register because they want your ID and all that stuff, to use any of the resources on site at the Library of Congress, so you do have to, you can't just show up at the reading room and say, hey, we want in.
Yeah, at the NARA, National Archives, I had to go down with my like passport ID, 2 government IDs or something, and they give you a card, a researcher's card, and I still have that as a souvenir. It's very cute, laminated.
When I was at Maryland for my first master's in 1980, I wrote my congressman and they got me a pass for the back section of Library Congress. I think that would be a way to supersede everything.
You know, you're totally right, Kevin, because I used to ride the train with someone who worked in the Library of Congress, and Congress makes requests all the time. Because it is the Library of Congress, and they are supposed to be doing research requests on behalf of congressmen. So it's possible.
So I would say contact the congressperson for our area and tell them what you are doing. And then they are the ones that will make arrangements and tell them what days would be good for you, and they will facilitate that.
okay, cool.
But the question is like, you know, do they have their own cameras that they require, their own copy scans? Or will you be able to bring a camera and make a copy? Will you be able to put it on our website? Yeah, that. You know, explain to them this is a non-commercial use. It's definitely educational.
So it's fun for me to go through all this process.
Gotta love Mrs. Thorne. She's wonderful. All right, if there's nothing else on that, I want to thank you, Chris, for finding that. I had no idea it exists.
Melissa and I were actually, we called together and yeah,
That's great.
but it's good, and it was disappointing at the same time, personally. That's okay.
All right. Implementation strategy number 3, raising awareness about the tax credit opportunities with wayfaring and signage. So is this sort of what we've already covered, or is there more?
So this is just bringing to your attention again what was written for this implementation strategy. This is the first time we've talked about it since the actual induction of the implementation plan. So I wanted to bring it back up just to remind you, since this is a standing agenda item. And we've had a discussion last month about, I believe it was implementation strategy number 1 that was essentially completed already. Because we had found the answer to that. So this one, just bringing it up to your attention, you know, maybe discussion about how you're already raising awareness and how we might go about improving the wayfinding signage.
Sounds great. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate that. And I'm glad to see it's strategy 3. That means we're moving along in our strategies. That's good. Okay, nation's 250th. So Melissa was kind enough to include my high quality graphic. We did have a meeting at Belgrove Square, and we did tromp around quite a bit. We did not find the DAR 200 monument. And I looked through my meeting minutes, and the car accident that happened on that corner, which is the last time that I looked for that 200th monument, was back in 2021. So it's been 3 years since I saw that little monument, and I just can't imagine where it went to. The DAR thought it was still there, and it's not. I don't know if it's been moved. I don't know what happened there, but if anyone knows, that would be a good thing to find out.
The one that was hit by the vehicle,
No, that was 100 years.
that's the 100.
And that was moved to this corner of
Right.
Park Place and Park Avenue. No, this is the 200th bicentennial marker that the DAR put in there. And it's just gone. I mean, we really scrubbed around.
Yeah, we want, yeah. To the other brush.
Oh,
I don't know what happened to it. There's a way to put in a query, that'd be great, if the city knows what might have happened. Anyway, we made a recommendation for where the DAR sign could go. And we did that to balance with the other sign on the opposite side. There's a Belgrove sign there for the women's club. So it's also away enough from any bushes and growth that it can be well seen by both sets of traffic. So that's why we picked that spot. And then we picked the commemorative tree spot. And Melissa, can you remind me again what this commemorative tree, it's a 100-year tree, or what is this?
so this is just a sapling from the Liberty Tree. I'm sorry. Yes, the Liberty Tree, the one that was in St. John's College. And it has a history of founding fathers and folks who assisted with the Declaration, having their committees there under this tree. And the tree, of course, isn't there at St. John's College anymore. Oh, wrong one. I wanted to pull up Belgrove Square on the map here, just to look, and be very clear about where you're looking to put the sign. So so I have spoken to, I showed a copy of this recommendation to our city arborist. And he does have concerns for putting another tree in this park. He's thinking about city hall here, this space. I haven't heard a final on where he's looking to put it, but he just wanted to let you know
Yeah,
one bit of feedback that I had had.
yeah, I really think that it belongs in this park. And especially given the age of the current trees, they're gonna age out and nothing's gonna be there to follow it. You know, especially that corner tree is gonna age out quick. It's half dead already. And so the corner we picked was there looking at the canopy. And a Liberty tree really belongs in the Centennial Park.
Are there overhead power lines that it could eventually impact as it grows, or
There's a lot of trees in
damage to
that.
the sidewalk if it's close enough to the corner?
That can all be offset from placing we did.
Let's go live. No power lines on this side of the street.
And
Which one did you say was dead?
Further.
right there,
Yeah,
that tree, when you look up in it, it has a lot of dead in it.
yeah, it's pretty,
It looks like it's been hit, and that is not a current picture. Looks like it's been hit by,
Yeah, this is 2 years ago.
looks like it's been hit by thunder or something. Like lightning. It's in bad shape.
it is.
By thunder?
By lightning. Thing is that that's really close to sidewalks and stuff like that. That's why we pulled it back into an area that's much more open.
Is that monument right there, is that the one you say is missing now?
Nope, that is the Centennial corner marker.
That's the bicentennial, that one up there.
This one is the Centennial.
Centennial. There's 3 Centennial markers in the Centennial Park. There's one there. There's one halfway down Green Street, down the block in the bushes. Right there's one.
I wonder if I should be going live.
And then there's also one in the far corner of Park Place and Park Avenue, and that's the one that was relocated.
Before I drive over there, is this grass strip where you were looking for the bicentennial?
We looked everywhere.
We looked everywhere, but it was actually to the left of that shrub.
On this side?
Yes,
Okay,
right between the half-dead tree and the shrub.
okay.
And I have to.
In this area?
Yes.
Okay.
Supposedly, that is a flower bed.
Okay. I'm not sure, there's gonna be any issues with that location. There was concern about mowing, you know,
Mhm.
and things, but that might be a good location.
So we figured.
Yeah, there you go.
And if you look down the block, this tree that's very damaged. It's really the only thing till you get to the far corner, and that whole park's gonna be unbalanced when that tree goes.
So for the potential planting of the Liberty tree, replacing this tree, or you need to find a new root area?
Yeah, put it
Somewhere over
right
here.
about there, and that's pretty much where we depicted it. Away from sidewalks.
Just wanna make sure I can clearly communicate and figure out.
I think it really doesn't make sense to put a Liberty tree anywhere that isn't already kind of part of the commemoration of the liberty of the nation. Okay, there was another 250th idea that came up. That I'm gonna toss out. Or should I wait till we do comments? Yeah, because they really can't wing it. I'll wait till we do comments. Is there any more discussion about the 250th anniversary?
Mrs. Thorne and I had a meeting, more than a month ago, right? And we discussed, it was April, it was beginning of April, right? So, a month ago. No, it was March, it was in March.
Yeah, it was probably March at this point.
Yeah.
Time's flying.
Yeah, because, okay, so 6 weeks ago, so, we discussed a number of things, specifically sprucing up well, that was the meeting, that was what the meeting was for, sprucing up the downtown with paint awnings and, flower, like barrels and also, I guess the little islands around the trees, the whole way down Main Street especially, they're just scrappy looking. And I don't know, like, is there any movement on that or any, like, what do we have to do to figure out, like, because it should be uniform and it should be the whole way down Main Street.
The first bit of movement is actually over the weekend.
Oh.
When we had our spring cleanup
Okay.
event, which Councilmember Pecoraro was in attendance for, thank you. And we had a good turnout. It was small, it was about 20 of us. But essentially that was a partnership with the businesses in the community, and we had a few folks from McDaniel come down. So it was essentially like step one, what's the landscape like? So we had our meeting. It was good to hear back from other folks. We got some feedback also on Locust Lane, the existing structure that has where we post flyers. Both sides has flyers. Could use some sprucing up as well. It's looking kind of drabby. So there's so many layers to this, like the flower beds, the trash, that there really isn't that much trash. Like all in all, the streets department does a wonderful job with the street sweeper every week and everything. But so I think the next step really is to detail the plan. And we already kind of did that with the suggested plants. I did reach out to the nursery suggested, and I hadn't heard back from them.
Did you talk to her or just leave a mess? I can reach out if you want and just to find out if they do commercial stuff. Because I think if that's something we wanna do, it's gonna take at least 2 years to establish the ground cover or whatever it is you decide, something simple and, easy to care for, I hope. But you don't wanna plant it 6 months before the celebration because it's gonna be mud. So we need to move on that one thing we need to move on. Paint, you could do it in a weekend if we had to, but the ground cover, you can't.
There's another business owner, I wouldn't mind introducing you to. She has some ideas on some of the plants similar to what you've been talking about, the ground cover. Just to see if there's any sparks there or some other ideas that can come out of that. But if you wouldn't mind reaching out and seeing if you can have better luck.
Right, I just think we need to find I'm sure the commercial landscapers that deal with downtown landscaping in environments like that, urban settings like that, next to streets and traffic and all of that. So, and they would be the people or the, that could best help choose what kind of plants would work, so you're not wasting money.
Right, and through the whole thing, we just need to keep our streets department involved, just to make sure that they're understanding and they're okay with it. Maybe there's some budget that they even have that can help with this. So next step is just to follow up on what we've already done.
Well, I'll follow up with that nursery and ask, but I mean, maybe your streets department or the arborist knows of some landscaping people that do that kind of work. Other than that, I'm just gonna Google it.
Right, I
Because-
think typically what they do is internal. They're the ones that do it.
Okay.
Maybe there's someone, on staff.
Alright, well, I will poke around and see what I can find, and I'll get back to you, and then, but I think reaching out to a business that does that kind of work is the plate, not, somebody's little backyard garden, but that can take the heat and the exhaust and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, thank you. So one more thing, we actually just installed this week, new planters. So you might notice, they're a little bit larger than the ones that were on the street last year, on our lamp posts.
Cool, I'll go look.
The flowers are, they're gonna grow and get billowier, but they're in, so.
And is there somebody who's gonna water them, or are you gonna depend on the land,
Oh, no, those are done in-house with our public works department. They water them. That's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, and I think all of this is kind of, a part of it, figure out what the maintenance is of all of this, what's reasonable. So there might be opportunity to reach out to a contractor. So,
Well, I just think it would be worth the money with an outfit that does that all the time, city planning, with parks and things like that. To get the right, plants.
All right, well, I have two more great 250th ideas that have surfaced. And I'm gonna look at Kathy Beatty for the one from Rome, New York. And let me preface this, Kathy, I would not even have brought this up if I hadn't checked with someone who's involved with the fire department. And that someone said, it's not a hard pass, no. It would be a working towards yes, but maybe we just do it for the historic district. Do you wanna tell the idea you came up with?
When I was a kid, for the bicentennial, my hometown in upstate New York, painted their fire hydrants to look like colonial soldiers.
Oh.
And they had all of the different patterns, people adopted the fire hydrants, the city provided the paints and the pattern. And any that didn't get adopted to be painted as soldiers, the city painted red, white, and blue.
that's neat.
Isn't that fun?
It's not paint, we did that at our town too.
We did not do that in Grand Rapids, Michigan. But I talked to a councilman who's very involved with the fire department. And apparently those colors on the hydrants do have purpose, like they're saying something to the firemen. But if we were just to sort of limit it to, maybe just the 250th year and just the fire hydrants in the historic district, I think we'd have a better shot, but we would have to coordinate.
So would we have people that actually can have some talent and make it look like what it's supposed to look like, or is it just gonna be paint slopped on the? I was gonna ask.
I would think we'd need to create a pattern.
Yes.
Yeah, they gave this, if I recall, they gave people the pattern of this is what you're creating. They gave them the paint so that they didn't, put watercolors on it and it washed off. So they were pretty strict in terms of getting it done, so they all looked good and lasted a long time.
So does this sound interesting enough that we can tell Kathy to please look into this? Figure out if you can find those patterns or find the history behind them and
I'll take a look.
see what you can dig up.
Yeah, I'll see what I can find.
Does everybody else think this is good? Do I see Mark trying to ignore us?
No, I actually typed in fire hydrant painting patterns to see if I could learn painting patterns, but that's what I'm doing. I even looked in tree pit issues of tree pit planting, so I was looking at that too, but no.
Maybe you're trying to leave the room because
No,
it's
no.
gonna be a little controversial, but I think we can ease them into let them think it's, not every fire.
Well, if you're gonna ask, I'm not a big fan of the painted fire hydrants, like they messy. But that's just my opinion.
oh, I think it's a can do that we can get people to help us with. And I love that. I mean, just for the historic district only, you know. All right, well, have to look into it, see what you can find.
I'm not gonna say never. That's what I can't.
All right, we have another idea that bubbled up that I think is can do within our abilities of our times and skills and talents. And that came from Mrs. Thorne.
I forgot about this.
I did not, because I loved it.
Okay. Go ahead and share.
Mrs. Thorne. Miss Thorne came up with a time capsule. And where else would we put it but in the Centennial Park?
We might need to get a larger parkland.
Well, come on, this capsule can't be too
Yeah.
big. But I think it'd be great fun to be thinking about what we would put in it. Maybe we'd ask the mayor common council to contribute stuff, each one of them. Maybe we would ask the Department of Maintenance to come up with something that's gonna stand the test of time. And I just think it's something you can give a lot of bang for the very little buck, you know, and I think it would get people excited and fun, you know, minor little party maybe.
So physically, where would you? Like, I mean, in what would you encase it in? Because there's a lot of issues with that. And usually by the time you extract the time capsule, it's moldy and it's falling apart and stuff like that. So archivally, like if you go online to the National Archives and thing, what they recommend is, like, if you really want to preserve something, like preserve it in like a box inside a vault or something like that, and then have like a printed list in, you know, the tree stump or wherever you don't put it. So I'm curious, what would you encase or enclose that in Belgrove Square?
Just say something PVC.
And then put it in the ground?
I haven't
Seal it?
given it much thought to the actual logistics of it.
I
just the
can help
idea
you with that because I've done this before. I will send you some information.
Yeah,
That would be very helpful.
I mean, I was just thinking, it's like sawing off a pipe. Putting it, threading it, then putting that PVC glue on it that keeps the water out, and that's that.
my concern is more, how do we let the future know
And it's there.
that it's there and that record will be retained so that somebody will actually know?
Well, sometimes they don't know, and that's half the fun, but
Well, it'll be in our records if we.
oh yeah, our big records. But maybe a little sign, well, of course, if you say time capsule here, it's in the middle of the night, it's gonna be somebody gets down there. But, you know, you could do an invitation to the future and say, you're invited to dig this up at the 300 or something, you know.
I'll send you the information that I have because I did this before, so.
Yeah.
I can send you the information that I have.
Thank you.
And Kathy was involved with the time capsule up at,
Charles Carroll?
Mhm.
Yeah, and that one had leaked, the documents it was in the cornerstone at the Charles Carroll Elementary School. And that one had leaked, the documents that were in it were damaged, I mean, not destroyed, but they were damaged. And there is one, it's actually at the Historical Society that I think is from the Carroll County 150th. And that is a giant steel box with 3 huge padlocks on it, and the Historical Society had 1 key and one of the banks had the 2nd key, and I think somewhere the city has the 3rd key, or somebody at the county. But 2 of the keys are now at HSCC because the bank went out of business. They were like, we don't know what this thing is, do you want it?
and what was its purpose?
I don't know what's in it. I have not found a list, I never found a list of what was in it, and it's the time capsule from the Carroll County 150th, I think was what it was. But it's, yeah, big steel box and.
So it's not gonna be open.
A letter from my old boss in there. Is that really?
Sure, but I haven't turned it over.
I was the youngest person at the big event
Okay.
when they did that. I remember looking around the room saying, I'm the only person here who has a chance of being.
Yeah, you're right, up at the end.
So do you remember what went into that capsule?
I don't, I just remember that we were asked to put something in and we did a letter.
Wow, Greg, you could be part of 2 capsules in your life.
What would happen to your 3rd, right?
But imagine if we went to the Times Archives, we'd find when they closed it, there's probably a list in the paper of what they put in there, but. I'm not sure where the 3rd key is. Did the city have that or did somebody in the county have it?
Sure, they can open.
County
Oh,
Messiah.
yeah, they're just big padlocks, I'm sure you could that they're lock off if you had to, but. As I said, two of the keys ended up at the Historical Society because the bank went out of business. It's like, we don't know what to do with this thing.
Anyway, do you guys generally like the idea of a time capsule?
I think as long as you don't put something like, right, as long as like what you put in there is, if it gets damaged, it's not going to matter.
Well, in the time capsule for Charles Carroll was like newspapers.
Yeah, it was like copies of the school yearbooks and lists of the students and there was some newspapers in there and.
I mean,
what else was
nothing
in there.
gold doubloonish.
No, it wasn't like Al Capone's vault.
No, but I think it's gonna be interesting if we challenge the commissioners and the mayor to see what kind of creativity they have for marking this ostentatious event. Most wonderful event of 250.
Be interesting to take something from the 150th and put that in the new one too.
Well, the 150th was from the county.
Oh, it's from the county.
Put something
Oh,
in the
that's
bicentennial. If people have any bicentennial souvenirs or something.
And that would have been 1987, 88.
Hmm,
87.
found them, yeah.
So, all right, well, let's keep thinking about this capsule thing. Are you gonna take the lead on?
I have information, I've already done a lot of this stuff, so I'll just send it to you and you can through it, just
Okay, yeah, and if you think of any creative ideas on what might go in it.
I think that part should be the fun part, like, you know, talking to like the commissioners or the commissioners, the city council or different groups or something like that, suggestions. I hope you do the tech end of it.
Okay,
Great.
All right, so quickly, let's move through the rest of our agenda, which is historic commission and public comments. Kathy, do you have anything for the good of the realm other than
No?
fire hydrants? Kathy, the queen of the fire hydrants. How about you, Chris?
I think I already, you know, I just mentioned the downtown spruce up, so I'm gonna follow up with like, see if I can find some, you know, commercial landscapers or gardeners and the time capsule, so
For me, I mentioned some of the ideas that I think you'd actually really do, which I think is the hydrants and the time capsules, so that's my contribution for this month. Kevin, do you have anything?
Nothing, but thank you.
Mark? Have any comment you'd like to add to today's record?
No, there's a lot I have to think about today's meeting, so. I have nothing to add, but we will ask DPW ground crew about the DAR sign, see if they might have something, what might have happened with that.
Can't imagine it. Ms. Thorne?
I just have two things. Coming up soon, or in the, hopefully for the June agenda, will be a demolition report, structures report for 58 West Main Street, which is a garage in the rear. Possibly another one for Green Street garage. And just wanted to talk about Flower and Jazz, it's coming up in a couple of weeks. And I sent out the schedule already. Just want to keep it on your mind. I'm working on a few things for the table. And I think last month we had talked about possibly some of y'all bringing some actual tangible doorknobs or locks or something that might be interesting. So, you know, it's your table and Parks and Recreation has it reserved. If you need a reminder on the schedule, I can send that out again.
It's gonna be great.
yeah, please.
Just today, I was asked by our Carroll County Visitors Center to decorate the curio cabinet. So we have the flower and jazz, this banner in there, with the entertainment lineup scheduled, as well as our farmers market, which actually starts on May 18th over at the Conaway lot. And that will be running from the 18th through November 23rd, from 8 AM to noon. So please come.
So this is May, Preservation Month. Did we get our proclamation in?
We did.
Oh, good.
We did. I was thinking it was gonna be this month. It ended up being at our last council meeting. So I apologize for not getting word out to you because it was something that our staff was already on and Mark was able to accept it for the group. So thank you, Mark.
So we got proclaimed.
It was
Yes.
proclaimed, yes. Yes.
It was, well, that's, I hate to say this, I'd rather see it a little before the month, so people are thinking about the month of May rather than halfway through the month.
I think that's what the city clerk, he had a very good reason why we should do it in April, and I think that was the primary reason. It should be prior to the month versus having it occur in the month.
So he was all over that.
So
So
yes,
the next one we're looking forward to doing is the 250th, which has not been drafted yet.
Okay,
So hopefully communication will come out so that you can be a part of it.
I would love a copy of this year's proclamation,
Okay.
because I found it kind of fun to be able to whip it out and give you a copy of the one from 2011.
Oh, yeah.
So,
If you'd like to come to one of the May council meetings, the mayor would do it again and you get a picture.
oh, that would be great.
It's nice.
Yeah, when's the next May council meeting?
13th and the 27th.
I'm working primary voting. What's the other day, 13th and what?
The 27th.
Second and fourth Mondays.
about the second, I thought it was on Tuesday, the second May meeting.
Sorry?
Isn't the second May meeting on Tuesday? Is that this month? Because of the holiday?
Ah, very good point.
Is there
Oh, that would be Labor Day,
a Memorial Day?
Memorial Day. Please, Labor Day.
I don't know, did we move it? I guess we
I
must.
thought we were talking about moving it to that Tuesday following.
Yeah, we're not gonna ask people to show up on Memorial Day.
But I do have the proclamation.
Well, I would,
You would like to see it?
I would love to see it. I would be very honored to come on the 28th of May. Would be very honored to come and accept this on the 28th if I was asked to.
Okay.
I can't come the 13th because I'm election judge. I could come on the 28th and get a picture and kind of raise the consciousness. What time is that?
7 p.m. Would it be possible to get a picture with the group tonight? With holding it, maybe?
Oh, that would be great.
Just since you're all here, I know Grace isn't able to be here. But quite a few of you here.
Yeah. All right, good. Let's do that this evening. All right, and was there anything else? Yep, you'll remind us about large. Yep. Sounds good. Is there anything else for the good? Oh, public comment? Hearing none. Then I'm gonna move to adjournment. All in favor?
Fine.
Thank you.